Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to WhatMap, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Right, it's Monday, we're right back to the top of the workshop looking at the top performing map of the moment, and it's this one. Now, the word legendary, now that gets bandied around really easily these days, sometimes way too easily. People are described as legendary that you've never even heard of. Today, I'm going to bandy the word legendary about the creator, and I don't think there's a single soul who will disagree with my use of the word. This is a creator that's been around since the very, very beginning, and they were setting the standards way back when. We don't see too much from them these days, but when they come back, it is a real treat. Now, today's map, while I don't think it's their absolute best work, it's still a very strong map, and one that if you choose to play, you're going to have a lot of fun with. And one thing about today's map, it does have something very striking about it, very, very striking about it, and one that I think will be used quite a lot. But before we have a look at any of that, I'd like you to have a little look at this. That's right, looking at the like button does absolutely nothing. You can stop looking at it now. Today's map is Costa Forte by Scotland Tom. Yes, Scotland Tom. Mwah. We love you. We're so glad to have you back on the scene. There's your start square. That looks very good, doesn't it? Look at the way that the river and the bay are separated so you can pump and draw. It's all good. There's your terrain height maps, and not huge amounts of flat land, but certainly enough for a fun game, I'll say. And then resources, being used mostly for painting with the ore, but it looks amazing and it's definitely accessible. And then if you've got Sunset Harbour and want to do some fishing, your fishing map is like that. No tuna? Come on, Tom, give us some tuna. Off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, it's a mass transit map. You will need mass transit for this one. Nicely written, short, concise description there. And a one-click collection, which doesn't contain too much. Although there's one item in the required list on the first page that doesn't appear in the one-click collection. I didn't go back and resubscribe to it because I'd already loaded up the map by this point. Sad, but true. We've got a really nice theme mix today. Oh, a really nice theme mix. And also, second map in a few days to ask for render it. So I have now added it to my toolkit. I'm sorry, whoever it was last week. I'm sorry, I should have used you last week. But it's something more for me to learn. But we have got the render it settings in place here. Now, Scotland Tom, we've done them 4 times in the past. I will quickly reel off those numbers because they're all quite small by today's standards. Most recently, the most recent was episode 583. Now, I believe that was an older map as well. It was one of those, let's tick off some of the old stuff that's at the top of the workshop, the all-time listings. That got 9 stars, which for an old map being reviewed in fairly modern times, that's pretty good going. Then before that we had episode 476 where they got 13 stars. Episode 31, yes, that's just 2 digits. Episode 31, they got 13 stars then as well. And episode 15 well, he didn't get any stars because that was even before I did any star ratings. We are going right back to the juicy, janky, awful days with the old microphone before I had the speed slider mod and everything was really jerky and janky. And yes, jerky does include the presenter. So anyway, down to ground level today, we've got some very nice work. There's very little to complain about with today's map. Very little to complain about. We've got the networking's very nice. Interesting terrain. Let's talk about that. We've got interesting terrain. We've got a very slick set of networks that crisscross the terrain without being too much. Here's our first intersection right there. You probably noticed we have the intersection marking tool. I've actually deliberately skipped something that we'll come back to in the second half of the show, but you're going to see worse than what we've skipped. Had I knew we were going to see worse, I would have not bothered skipping it. I would have skipped the later parts. But never mind. A little bit of glitching there as the roads have been pushed back a little bit too hard together. And then the roads come together pretty neatly. Now, What is so good about this map, I would say, is the theme mix. We've got interesting terrain. We've got a good, strong network. These are the core things, the key things. The theme mix contains 7 different themes and a LUT. We're using a combination of the Stray Cats Territory theme, Stray Cats Nature Reserve, Coos Bay. Oh, Coos Bay's still there, you know. A Wet Temperate, Not So Rocky Hills, Laviante, a 1.41, and Coastal. All of those themes all mixed in together to give us this appearance, along with the Relight 3 soft LUT. And then some render it settings, which is brand new to me. I've spent about 3 minutes with the render it, trying to work things out with the render it. But I mean, look at the way that this has been done. So good. So yes, if I've got anything wrong with render it, it's something I'm on a learning curve, a very steep, sharp learning curve with render it. It's something brand new to me. I've got to say, I do like what I'm seeing here, but I don't know whether it's how much of that is. I don't know whether it's the map. It's clearly the map, but I don't know how much of that is affected by render it. What this would look like without render it. I think I'm probably going to have to do that for my own curiosity to see whether it's worth continuing with render it, but I have honoured the render it requirement. And the settings, anyway, there's your start square there, all the way down that way there. Of course, we've seen the start square intersection already, so we're just going to skip directly across to the highways over here. So yes, Scotland Tom, yeah, it's so good. It's so good to have them back. It doesn't matter that, oh hang on, this matters. It's a trunk road. Oh dear. Yeah, I've got one or two trees tucked in underside of the roads. Again, if you're not using any form of prop anarchy, they will be hidden. These are just, I leave it so that we can see what's hiding underneath the roads. And again, that works for if you want to do some detailing under networks, your detailing will show through in these reviews. Right, anyway, where were we? Yes, Scotland Tom. It's so good to have them. It's, I would say, for me, it's a strong map. It's not my most the map that I'm most excited about from their previous maps, but it still counts as a very good one. One I'd be very happy to play, and if I had the time, oh my word, can you imagine if we all had enough time to play everything that we always wanted to play? I would be well, I'll be about 100 different people if I could do that. How many maps can you build on at once? And then all of the other games I'd love to play, and that novel I want to write, and all the paintings I want to do, and learning German. I need several lifetimes for that one, don't I? Anyway, yeah, the rail. The rail's good. What more to say about the rail? The rail's good. It fits with the same standards as the highways. Makes a lot of sense, the route that it's taken. We do a little bit of crisscrossing of the rivers, but in a way that is, well, it works smoothly, it works fine. A few of you might argue there's a more efficient way of doing this in real life. Listen, this isn't real life. A little bit of a bush on the line there. It's a branch line. Hey, all of the memes today. Yes, if you're playing BonBonBingo, you'll be checking a few of these off your bingo card right now. Link, as always, is in the description. Anyway, we'll just follow this around. We'll head off towards the edge of the map in a minute. We'll just through. Look at the way that we just dealt with these hills. It's done so well. You can just see the quality of a top map maker here. And again, a map that doesn't look like it's taken like months and months to create. You know, just a few weeks maybe. Hopefully it's just a few weeks. This has taken Scotland Tom a couple of years. I'm sorry, Tom. It doesn't look like it, but it does look like you spent some considerable time and you put in your usual high standards. Anyway, let's take a brief intermission. Come right back after this.
Do all your cities end up looking like ugly, lumpy grids? Would you like to evolve a more organic, natural-style city? Then check out BonBonB's Breaking the Grid playlist. Click the I button now.
And so back to Costa Forte by Scotland Tom and the shipping routes. The shipping routes at first glance look very slick. Look at all these shipping triangles. Very slick. We've got one that goes around the bay that takes us into the bay and back out of the bay, and also some very nice air routes as well. It's all very good, apart from one little issue. If we were to build a harbour, say here, The ship would come down here. If you wanted to exit, it can go left and right. But if you want to exit down to the bottom, it will have to do some sharp turns. I think the solution there is to remove that exit there on the left hand side, and everything is fine. There's one exit too many. Don't always have to have all of the connections, you know. Water flow, we have the river that goes through the start square, which we've seen right at the start of the show, and a little bit of water flow there as well, and then leaves us with the bay as well. Honestly, everything there is good. I think we'll have a very nice play on that. Map overall, the overall design is very nice. It's not been polished to the nth degree, but it's been polished to a very good degree. There are certain things, but like I say, I'm loving the valleys. I like the idea of the valleys and the mountain ranges, these mountain ridges. Phenomenal, and that is down to the theme. We'll have a closer look at the mountains in a minute. Got the beaches. Beaches, you can see the old Coos Bay sand issue with the beaches. Whether you think that they've been worked well enough to work with the theme is completely up to you. I know that I spent ages on my beaches getting them just right. Wetlands going on there. That's a really interesting set of shapes going on there. Then we have islands and peninsulas. Everything's been thrown into this one except for an essential lighthouse. What's going on, Tom? What is going on? We give you the tools and you don't use them. Alright, this is what we skipped right at the beginning. Just a few trees on the underside. I didn't realise there were going to be quite as many more that we saw. The mountains look amazing. Just look at the theme mix for these mountains. I think these are some of the best looking textures for a mountain mix I have seen before. This is Sirens, the BonBonBingo players. That there was a fire engine. Anyway, yeah, some of the best looking mountains I have seen. And then trees. And now the tree mix isn't to my taste. This feels like an eclectic mix. They look great together, so there is that, but it feels like a real eclectic mix. I don't know. Maybe the missing bush would make all the difference, or maybe that would make it even more eclectic. I don't know. The tree painting, the actual patterns and shapes are great, and the colours are great. I just don't quite know where I would see it mixed quite like that. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Put me right in the comments, because that is your job. Meanwhile, my job remains to talk about the asset of the day. This is a first timer on the chart show at the very least. It's Jotrain Gamer with PetStock and Radio Rentals commercial building. This is great. This is really, really great. Anyway, factoids, because factoids, why not Radio Rentals, hey? Radio Rentals was formed in 1930 in Brighton, in Sussex, the United Kingdom, England. Not too many million miles from where I live. To rent out radio sets by Percy Perring Toms, with a turnover in the first year of £780, which is the equivalent of over £50,000 in today's money. It later offered televisions and ultimately video recorders for rent. The company still trades to this day as Radio Rentals in Australia. And I have mentioned it before on a show. I used to work directly opposite a Radio Rentals and used to watch quite a lot through my shop window, through their shop window. Couldn't hear a thing, but there was definitely a very cute girl on the BBC, on children's television, ITV. She was very cute. I still follow her today over on Twitter. Check her out. PetStock and Radio Rentals commercial buildings by Jotrain Gamer. Yes, I do check out Danielle Nichols. Oh, she's still fit now. Still fit now. Fit enough to still be following on Twitter. What? 3 decades later? My word. Is it? No, probably. I'm doing her in injustice 2 decades later. Your chance to vote on the map. Your chance to vote. Link is in the top left-hand corner, right-hand corner of your screen. Oh, hell. Or in the description. Is it a 1-star map, or is it a 5-star map, or is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month in the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Right, what do I think of today's map? Well, aesthetically, I think we've got a very good design. I think we've got an amazing theme mix. I don't know quite so much about the tree brush. I don't get it. It doesn't quite work for me, and I feel there's some more work that can be done with these beaches. It doesn't quite tick my boxes, having played with the Coos Bay theme for beaches personally. But I still like it, this map, easily enough to give it a medium low 4 stars. Detailing. There's plenty of good stuff. There's some great stuff. There's a few niggly things, and the tree brush, I don't know really about the tree mix. I'm going to go for a very high 3. I don't think it's Tom's most exciting work. Gameplay potential, yes, get in there and play it. Oh my word, easily a middle 4-star map, possibly a little bit higher than that. I'm just not really dragged in, kicking and screaming. Costa Forte by Scotland Tom. Yeah, I'd very happily play this one. It's definitely getting the BonBonB seal of approval because Scotland Tom knows how to make a map, and that is a very nice map. Again, I mean, you're comparing somebody with their best work. It's just, how do you move on? How do you progress? You can't keep making better and better and better. You have to start from a very low point to get better and better and better. But anyway, I've got you set up for the day. Your chance now to prove you are part of the 20 and out elite, using that word today in the comments. And a big shout out to all of the BonBon buddies over on Patreon. Thank you very much for your ongoing support. Plenty of more special stuff for you coming this month.